Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here, and thanks if you were one of the many viewers who showed up to watch my live stream. Unscheduled with zero warning and completely in your face is how I like to live stream, so don't look for any kind of, well, anything other than really a notification. So if you're like, oh, I gotta see the next live stream, well, it's almost always between 7 o'clock and midnight Central Time, by the way. But also, just turn on notifications, which is really the only reason I would ever turn on notifications on my channel. I upload like 2 videos a night. Like, do you really want your cell phone to be lit up and Firefox or Chrome bugging you? That just seems annoying. And special thanks to Photography Raptor, Oregon CRX, Xavier Byron, whose birthday is today, by the way, and Stoned Monkey Productions, me and Perp's co-friend, I guess. I was trying to think of a better word for that. We're co-friends, damn it. Those were the epic folks who decided to send me a super chat. You guys are awesome. And also, in case you haven't seen what my frame looks like in XSplit, I put up the top patrons on the little, awesome patrons thingy on the right. So mega thank you to my patrons as well. By the way, my Patreon links up to my patrons-only Discord, which is the World Meme Bunker. When Trump starts World War III, I guarantee you I am going to sell off those tactical grade memes to the highest bidder. Except for that fat little doughboy from North Korea. He ain't getting nothing. So anyway, just wanted to let everybody know I'll be streaming a bit, hopefully. Probably some Far Cry 5, probably some box openings, and just whatever. So watch for that. But anyway, Wizards just released another article written by Tom. I don't know how to pronounce that. It has an umlaut over the A. We'll just go with Weinerstrand because that sounds awesome. There's the thing, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, I remember him. No, Tim O'Hara was the one who wrote the first article. So there's a Tom and there's a Tim. And they both have awesome last names and apparently work in productions or something like that. So this is like an extensive article. I'm just going to burn through it because I can't really leave anything out. But if you think I'm going to go back and edit every single line that I screw up, oh, no. So get ready for a train wreck. Because of course, as you all know at this point, I cannot the reading. Last week, Tim O'Hara mentioned the new coding process being used for cards in English Dominaria booster packs. For most, this change isn't terribly noticeable. That is correct. I really didn't notice a whole lot. But for many who have been playing for a while, the feel, the playability, and even the smell are a bit different. Okay, I will confirm that. They smell completely different. Now, to the touch, they're almost identical, but that's the point, because they need to have a certain friction coefficient. Even the sound when rubbing 2 BFZ cards together and rubbing 2 Dominaria cards together, there's just not a big difference. But that's the point. You don't want them to be way stickier or way slipperier. They just are using a new coating. I may or may not have read this article ahead of time. So anyway, they go on to say, but why is that? This is the first in a series of articles that will take you behind the scenes on how we make our products. Honestly, first of all, that's just cool. And secondly, this is like more open communication. I love it. So in the future, you might see articles like this, photos, videos, or even charts. Oh my God, I love charts. I'm not being sarcastic. I love charts, science, math, statistics, probability, like product quality reports, friction coefficient measurements. I love that crap. Remember, I'm originally a software engineer and a math tutor. So anyway, they're going to have awesome charts that will illustrate what we're up to and the whys and hows of making a trading card game as big as Magic. Print coatings are a small part of the process, but most outside the industry don't understand much about them. Honestly, I used to work in printing and I don't understand much about them. Nothing we ever put out had a coating on it, or if it did, I didn't work on that station. Well, actually, and I worked on the final heat press, so it probably couldn't have a polymer coating. So let's shed some light on this particular finishing touch. Print coatings are very thin, clear, protective finishes applied over the top of printed materials. They are often applied in line on a printing press, but also can be applied offline via different processes. Various types of coatings available include aqueous, a quick-drying water-based UV coating, that's actually the next one. So, or UV, which is cured by ultraviolet light. I actually have heard of both of those, so... And varnish, which is just a generic term applied to a variety of non-water-based finishes. So polymer, wax-based, any kind of synthetic, kind of like something that would even resemble a lamination, but more of like a liquid thing. Enamels, like whatever, it depends on the product. Coatings serve several primary purposes. The first of these is to protect the print surface from moisture, scuffing, and wear, and to prevent the ink from being lifted off by things like finger oils. Without the coating, the art, text, and border on a card would be far more susceptible to smudging, fading, and generally looking worse for wear. That is absolutely true. Have you ever seen a printed material off like a $10,000 to $20,000 printer? they break down over time. I mean, it doesn't matter how nice it is, even like big plotters and stuff, movie poster printers, they're gonna have to put a coating on top, or first, ultraviolet light is gonna kill it. Secondly, it's just any little scuffing, anything, it's just gonna go straight to the ink, straight to the paper. If you've got a barrier there, it won't. I mean, it's like, this is the worst analogy ever, but like wearing gloves while you're prepping like food for a kitchen. Like your hands are either gonna get all full of crap or they're not. By the way, my cousin would like me all to remind you that you should not chop jalapenos and then go to the bathroom without washing your hands. If you're a guy, which you're watching my channel, you're a guy, come on. So anyway, this goes on to say sleeves might be how players protect their cards, but the coating is the first line of defense. Second, finishes are often decorative. They can be matte or glossy, soft to the touch, or raised and textured. That is true. If you want a really cool texture, you want to synthesize like the feel of papyrus or something, you can do it with some kind of like enamel or whatever on top. And yeah, it does affect the look. I mean, you've probably seen just straight up like, you know, color laser printer, some little sub $1,000 piece of crap. Just melts the toner on top of the paper, kind of sticks to it, and there you go. But you can practically see yourself in the reflection on that black level. So you could have light suppression, gloss that makes it even more bouncy. You know, you could have stuff that they use like on television screens where it enhances the black level while also brightening the bright, so you get a higher contrast ratio. There's all kinds of fun stuff you can do with coatings. But honestly, when it comes to Magic cards, I mean, yeah, making the colors pop is very important. But, you know, they don't really care about text or anything except for friction coefficient. Nothing else really matters. The real thing is protection from finger oil and, you know, severe degradation due to environmental conditions that would normally happen. I mean, they ain't gonna make it withstand acid rain and being put out in the sun for a year, but, you know, you don't want the ink to get messed up just because you touched the card once while sleeving it. You ever see the acid-free card holder binder pages? There's a reason they're acid-free. It's because acids don't do nice things to cards. Trust me, it just does not take much to mess up ink and paper. So the right coating mixed with the right printing technique can create some wonderful effects that are both visually exciting and feel good to the touch. When you like the feel of a card in your hand, you are likely reacting to the coating rather than the paper below. Absolutely 100% true. Most people don't think about that. That's why, you know, cheap playing cards versus expensive playing cards when it comes to like playing poker and all that, hell of a difference. I mean, just night and day. A third area that we often consider when selecting coatings is performance. Products we produce like book covers, game boards, and playing cards all have specific needs. For instance, we produce most cards with a matte finish to minimize glare. That is important, otherwise it's really hard to read, trust me, especially at certain angles and under fluorescent lights at an LGS. And utilize special playing card finishes to give the cards a certain slip/grip feel, also known as friction coefficient, when handled or shuffled. We want cards to slide easily over one another when you're tapping lands, but we don't want them to be so slick that you end up playing 40 card pickup every time you start shuffling your draft deck. I have opened playing cards like that, by the way, not TCG cards, but like, you know, poker cards. Developing these coatings can be challenging. The materials used need to be safe and environmentally friendly. Yeah, they do need to not poison your customers, that makes sense. And run well on high volume production equipment. Yes, you do not want inconsistent results. Oh my god, would you get shuffle tendencies? Like, even sleeves probably wouldn't be able to help that. Depending upon the application, a coating may need to be laminated, glued, and folded. I don't know about that. Okay, I'll take their word for it. Never heard of one getting folded, though. A TCG coating also has to be able to be properly cut, as well as accept secondary treatments such as foil stamps. Yeah, you don't want the edges curling because you cut a polymer coating and it retracted. There's also a rigorous testing process for coatings. Among other things, we test in our coatings lab, which really is, let me just say, this is an off-site company. Okay, they have a contractor that prints these, and it's not even just one contractor. Do you really think that Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast has like a chemical lab where they test new chemical agents together and check the friction coefficients and the coating and the UV resistance and the matte quality, light filtration, all that, and then send that to the third party? Or does the third party do the research or get their laminate from another third party? I don't know. I think that they test them. They're like, here, we want to try something new. And they're like, here, test them. They're like, okay, cool. And they just make sure they shuffle correctly. I'm sure they do that. That's quality assurance. But I don't think there's chemists and lab coats over at Wizards of the Coast. I'm just saying. So anyway, chemical composition is the first one. While we don't recommend eating cards, people sending me super chats on my live stream. The formulations are assessed and tested to meet global product and children's toy safety regulations. I literally just got done on live stream saying, it says 13 plus, they're probably toxic. That's their out. Well, apparently no, they're saying the other thing. I'm still not going to eat one though. My stomach is really messed up from that chicken. We certify our materials don't contain restricted or hazardous chemicals. Well, I mean, they probably just mean like, yeah, illegal, like carcinogens and known damaging stuff. Probably still wouldn't eat it. If it's any kind of hydrocarbon chain, you do not want that in your stomach. Trust me. You can't digest anything thicker than like olive oil. I mean, trust me, and even that. I mean, that's why humans can't run on gasoline. If it's like a thin synthetic paraffin, not tasting that. Also, they smell terrible, by the way. So number 2, environmental cycling. We test for environmental effects such as humidity and temperature. Oh, sure you do. We put our cards through extreme conditions to see how they react. Okay, let me finish that. They left a sentence out. Let me reread this. We test for environmental effects such as humidity and temperature. We put our cards through extreme conditions to see how they react, and then we don't give a crap because they curl, and we know it. They curl under any humidity, high, low, anything. Hot, cold, doesn't matter. They will curl. They will curl basically anywhere. If they were printed at the Texas facility, they are going to curl, and apparently they don't care. But they do test for it. They do watch them curl. They just decide not to do anything about it, which is even worse. Anyway, third is oil resistance, or as I like to call it, oleophobic coatings, because that's what they're called. Our hands, I told you, I cannot the reading hard. Our hands, no matter how clean, contain oils. Over time, those oils can break down cards. A good coating can help prevent this. That is true, although I must have some kind of weird genetic variation, more than one, by the way. But my hands just don't seem to produce oil under normal circumstances. They're always extremely dry. I don't leave fingerprints. I'm very unusual. So number 4, shuffle. Imagine hiring a pro player. Why the hell would I do that? To shuffle the cards in your hand, but at 10 times the speed and 100 times the frequency. So in other words, the little shifty thing that they usually do when they're nervous. I mean, let's be honest, that's what it really is. Or to look like a pro, they're just doing it for show. That's, yeah. We put our cards through the ringer. So they make sure they could shuffle like a billion times. I mean, if you're going to shuffle them that many times and they're unsleeved, I would almost expect them to wear down. So, whatever, but if they start clumping together, that would be really bad. So surface friction, this is number 1. They put it at number 5, but I'm putting it at number 1. In fact, I'm putting it at number 0, okay? We're going computer style counting. Now imagine the same pro player trying to shuffle the cards, but they can't because they stick together. Let me just add, like really cheap poker cards that you get from China. Or that they're so slippery they fly off in every direction. Like dragon shields. I nicknamed Dragon Shields the air hockey sleeves because that's what they do. They will magically hover your cards. I think there might actually be static electricity involved. So neither of those is good, so we test and retest how much surface friction cards have, trying to strike a balance. That is the hardest and most important part, but I mean, honestly, who doesn't sleeve their cards? I'd just make them not curl. I'd focus on environmental cycling or whatever they said. That department, I think they show up drunk every day or something. I don't even have an excuse. Neither do they, apparently. Well, I mean, I'm sure if I were to ask them cost, it would all come down to cost. Not incompetence, not laziness, cost. Anyway, another area we think about is how our cards breathe when various coatings are used. See, they almost shouldn't at all, because if they do, then they're going to curl because the humidity will change. Anyway, you see, Magic uses a proprietary laminated playing card paperboard. Told you it's not cardboard. It's paper. For God's sake, it's basically poster board. So anyway, they use a laminated playing card paperboard that can be sensitive to changes in humidity and temperature. You think? I noticed that too, actually. And we have found that different coatings and application methods can help the board breathe and assist with overall stability and performance. No, apparently you didn't do that because you said Dominator has a new coating and they curl just as badly as anything else, if not worse. What you need to do is print them at a static humidity-controlled humidity so that the paper absorbs a certain amount of humidity, water, whatever, and then seal it up so it doesn't breathe at all. By the way, what's really causing this curling is the edge cutting, the pressurization of the edge cutting and the edge cutting method. That's why they're not like consistently curling, they're like bowl curling. Now, sometimes it gets so bad that you do get a full diagonal warp, but that's just because it's so like bowl shaped. So the edges remain tight while the middle and like just the center of the card expands. Okay, so something changes: heat, temperature, humidity, water loss, water gain, whatever. My guess would be water loss. And then the paper expands, but the edges can't because they were like pressure cut instead of like really good exacting blade cut. But I mean, honestly, a blade cut is pretty much a pressure cut. It's not like stamped steel, you know. But if they were to use a slightly different cutting method that's more expensive, like it's probably a stamped cut, or like a sideways like full blade cut on a stack or something like that, I would guess. If they were to go to like side cutting that's more like a scissor blade and use like ultra sharp expensive blades or like ceramics or something crazy like that, it would be better. If it has that microscopic like sawing action, then it wouldn't pressurize the edges, it wouldn't crush them, and if the card needed to expand or contract, it would be able to, and the edges wouldn't be what's stopping it. That is why the cards curl, in case you were wondering. It's the expandability of the center versus the edges. I am personally 100% sure that is the problem. And guess what? You can't coat the sides of the card. So it's almost even worse. I mean, there's nothing you can do other than use a better cutting method or just a little bit more resistant paper, which costs quite a bit more money. Anyway, with this in mind, we have recently made changes to our coating process at one of our largest production partners, the one in Texas. The first place you saw this is with Dominaria, and while we are pretty happy with the results there, I honestly can't think of one reason why. We have made even further improvements to the card coatings in Core Set 2019 as well. So another change. So it should theoretically be better. So at least they're doing something. It's better than doing nothing and ignoring it and just being like, too bad, it costs too much to fix it. Screw you. That's why I'm glad they made this article. But I mean, come on, they really did kind of make it sound like Dominaria would be like, oh, we fixed it. Anyway, we hope these changes will be positively received. You don't have to hope, you just have to make the cards be better. You know what the problem is. Everybody and their grandma is like, stop making them curl. That's it. And just don't make them completely stick together or look like crap. As Boogie says, this ain't rocket surgery. I have a theory that if you made them stop curling in the open air, then it would be positively received. So keep working on it until it's fixed. And there you go. But like I said, all the coatings in the world ain't going to help it. They need better paper and they need a better cutting method. So we'll see. I mean, the colors are pretty damn well represented. They pop. They're very low glare on the cards. Very, very good, like slightly bumpy but still slippery coating. I mean, they got everything else down perfectly with Dominaria, except for the card curling problem, which is the cards could look like, pale, washed out crap like they used to. But if they don't curl, I'd still be like, okay, that's still a net gain. Like, that would be the trade-off to me. Maybe you have a different opinion. I don't know. At this point, even putting them in sleeves immediately is not helping. So anyway, the ending is, but the process of delivering a best-in-class product is never done. We are always finding ways to make small incremental adjustments in our printing and coding to further improve and standardize the cards produced at all our supply partners. That is true. The Japanese ones were better, and honestly, like the German ones were better than American. So they want standardization, homogenization, and consistent expectations being met or whatever. But see, that's the thing. They know that the cards got worse. They know that they stayed worse. And it's been like 5 to 8 sets. I don't know. There's a couple others. It's probably been 10 sets. And they haven't done a damn thing until Dominaria, as far as we know. The cards have been curling for set after set after set. They know that the change they made them worse. And they shipped them anyway, and then they kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. That's why everybody's like, oh, this is so great, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, communication is wonderful, and maybe, suggestion that they might improve for M19. Wonderful, I like that. But at the end of the day, they did this on purpose. They make the cards worse on purpose, and they know they did it, and that's fine to them. It's not fine to the customers, and they need to fix it. We're so futuristic, look at our process and our testing, but the end result is the end result. You can tell me you do whatever you want behind the curtain, but I'm looking at the end result, and it's not good enough. Core 2019 better not curl if I even put a damn iron on it with steam mode on, okay? Come to think of it, I feel like that would probably flatten it. Bad example. Oh my god, if I owned an iron, I would try to flatten out one of them cards right now. That would be the greatest video. I might go shoot that at my parents' house. Anyway, in conclusion, well, that's a bit about the coatings. Next month, I'll be back to talk more about another key part of how we make our cards, the paper. Oh, that'll be rich. The majority of Magic cards have been printed on the same paperboard since 1993. Yeah, majority mathematically, yeah, except for, the last 10 or so sets. So they're not wrong, but that's a drastically misleading statement because they changed to just ass quality paper lately, in my opinion. That's what I suspect has gone wrong. Anyway, so there's a little history there to talk about. I don't care about the history. I care about what you did to royally screw it up and what you're going to do to fix it. If they just come out and say, paper doubled in price, we didn't want to up the price, this is what we're working with, and now we're trying to use coatings and other things to make it better, then at least they've said it. I don't agree with it. I would have just eaten the margin or just said, do you know how much paper we buy from you to the distributor, and just be like, no. I mean, do you know what I do when my mining rigs that are mining Bitcoins make less money? I make less money. You know what Wizards should do when paper goes up? Make less money. But remember the rumor, and remember this comes from Rudy, so it's almost definitely BS, but they might be prepping themselves to be sold, so they want to just show insane levels of product flying off the shelves, really good margins, no sudden expenses, no downward spirals, no big drastic changes, nothing bad on the balance sheet. You don't want to show that anything's going wrong or going bad, which, oh my God, I hope whoever's going to purchase them doesn't look at any of their social media and the responses. They could look at the comment section on or the replies on Twitter to one tweet, and that alone would make them not want to buy Wizards of the Coast or just meet any of the staff or look at any of the products, open any Magic card boosters. I feel like they're not going to be sold. Even if they wanted to, I feel like they're not going to be sold to someone. Because to be sold to someone, you need a buyer who wants you. Although if I win the next 10 Powerball jackpots, I might buy their company just for laughs. So stay tuned for an update on that, because I'll let you guys know if I hit about 7 jackpots. I think then I'll be like, hey guys, I'm almost at 10. I'll let you know at that point. But until then, thanks for watching and stay awesome.